And this guy was like, yeah, this is the network, this is the switch over here, and this is where I run the console. And it looked like a complete mess. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, what?
Well, hey everyone, it is Shakiria Johnson, the host of the Insightful Technology podcast, where I'm here to help you gain knowledge with and understanding to be insightful in technology. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Karon, and she worked as a what you said, project manager?
Senior manager.
Senior manager. Okay, senior manager.
Yep.
So I want to have her talk about her experience of how she got into tech, where she went, and the route that she took. So let's get into. So Karan, who are you and what do you do? Let's go ahead and tell our audience members more about you.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is great, and thank you for the opportunity. So, professionally, I am a senior manager at T-Mobile Wireless. I've been there for 23 years now. I have a IT background, graduated from the number one HBCU in the nation, North Carolina A&T State University. With a bachelor of science degree in computer electronics and computer technology. And so I knew from school that I wanted to go into technology. My brother, my family are all in the technology field. So my career started as network administration. At the time, it was Novell Networks. And so I started working as a government contractor, moved into the government sector, working for the Patent and Trademark Office as a computer specialist, and loved it. And so after staying with the government for a while, we relocated to Atlanta. That was in Virginia. And so I relocated to Atlanta, and I started with a small telecommunications company called PowerTel. And so I don't know if you remember that, but that was in 1999. So I started with PowerTel as a systems engineer for them. We were standardizing the hardware and software equipment in their call centers and within the retail stores. And PowerTel was acquired by VoiceStream, and that kind of shifted my career. When we were acquired from VoiceStream, they turned the PowerTel location in Atlanta into a billing operations center. And so that was a little bit of a pivot for me. I, had always been supporting IT, hardware, software, but then we went into operations. And so I took a turn in my career and I went to support operations. We had bills that we sent out to the customers, so I went to the bill formatter team and worked in operations to send out customers' bills, maintain the jobs that ran the bills, and really got involved in billing. And so that led me to move again and pivot my career again to working with the business. Working with business requirements, business analysts, building the requirements that we needed to go into paperless billing to improve our bill format to our customers. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was promoted to a manager of billing analyst and business analyst and systems analyst. And so we worked with the development teams, writing technical specifications, the requirements documents. It was wonderful. And so I had an opportunity to take a bit of a stretch assignment to go work with the development team to see how we can improve the relationship between analysts and developers. And by me not being a developer by nature, can't write code, can't read code, but I can lead teams. So I took the opportunity to go and work with the software development team. We built the equipment installment plan for T-Mobile, EIP. If you ever go to T-Mobile and purchase a phone and get the payment plan, my team developed that application to allow you to pay for your phone over time. So it was a great experience for me to go and to learn development and to work with developers. I think that was really a pivotal part of my career move and technology move, because now I not only had the analytical part of the job, but I also understood the development part as well. And then, as while you're in development, you learn testing, you learn deployment. So the whole software development life cycle, I became very familiar with. And so, staying there for several years, maybe 5 or 6 years, at after that time, I wanted to become a little bit more strategic. So I went back to school. I got a master's degree in organizational leadership, and I took a position within T-Mobile to be a senior business operations manager, or chief of staff. A lot of people know that role as chief of staff, and I worked directly for the VP of billing operations. And that gave me a very strategic view of how the company operates, the decisions that are made for resourcing, for budgeting, for planning the whole organization. And so I stayed in that role for a while. And then now I am in supply chain as a senior manager for the portfolio organization. Our team is called Strategy and Agility Management. I have portfolio managers, program managers, agile coaches, process optimization roles, as well as also the business operations roles with the budget and finance teams. So it's great because all of this ties back into IT. We work with all of the delivery teams, making sure that we understand delivery. Now we're going through agile transformation. So it's been a journey, and that's where I am today.
Honestly, it's like as you described your journey, I was amazed at all the different avenues that you've taken. Honestly, like it's just it's to me, I love seeing women in general try different things, step out of like their comfort zone and just do just do stuff. So
Absolutely.
honestly, I love your I love your journeys. So I want to have you like explain a few of like the mindset things that you went through as in like taking those different steps in your career. So I want to dive into the beginning part when you were graduating, HCU grad. I
Hmm.
don't I don't know. I don't understand. I went to the PWI.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry. I'm sorry. You missed an experience there. We'll have to take you to homecoming.
like I hear all the rating and I'm just like, man, I'm this so even my cousin goes to like a HBCU and she is enjoying. She's
Oh
about to
yeah.
pledge AKA next year.
Okay. The best, the first and the finest sorority. Yes. So I will tell you, going to a HBCU for me was it was real. It did a lot for me. It opened my eyes to a lot of things, because when I was in high school, I was in a predominantly white high school, and so being able to go to an HBCU every day in classes with people who look like me, who are acing those exams, who are, building this technology, just the knowledge that you're surrounding yourself around with people that look just like you allows you to take the limits off of what you think you thought you could do. So for my career, I felt like I can do that. I can do that because I see people around me doing the same thing. So that's what I can really say that set me up for success. Of course, I was in a field where there wasn't a lot of women. It's still today. It's not a lot of women there, but just having that, being prepared from an HBCU, knowing that as an African American woman, I can go out there and I can compete with the best of them. And that's what I did. One of the one things I've always told myself in my career is, and it took some time. I won't say it was when I stepped out the door, but as I matured a few years in my career, I learned to focus on what I did know and not what I didn't know. Because if you limit yourself to, oh, I don't know this and I don't know that, then you put yourself in a box. But what I love people. I love meeting new people. I love talking to people. So one thing I knew, I could talk. I had a gift of gab. I've always been able to talk well. And so, and I can build relationships. So I said, if I can build relationships, if I'm not afraid to talk to people, then you can learn and you can gain that knowledge. And so you have to take those things, even when at T-Mobile, I knew nothing about software development and I was a little intimidated, just a little intimidated by it. And I knew my team that I was going to work with knew I didn't know development. I didn't know anything about Java code, any of that. But what I did have a good reputation for was building good teams. I knew IT. I knew what it took to to develop and to deliver. So I understood the process. So when you understand the process, and you understand, you find your niche. My niche is people. I love people. So I capitalize on building great teams. You need to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And so you can grow for it. So all of my developers, of course, they were developers, but they were smart people, they were sharp people, and I supported them. And once you get that support of your team, once people see that confidence in the area that that you're strong in, they respect that. And so you gain the respect of your team, you gain the respect of your colleagues. But for me, I'm always supporting my team, and it's never about me. I'm always putting my team out there. I'm always, because it's a team effort. I can't do this stuff by myself, so I make sure that management leadership knows it's a team effort, and you have to celebrate your team.
Oh, yep. Celebrating the team, like no matter how big or small, making sure you know it's a team effort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
And I'm glad you mentioned like going to HBCUs and seeing more people that look you doing such amazing things. And I've honestly wanted to see more of it because where I went, it was predominant, like my high school was, I can't even really say it, statistically predominantly white. Where I was surrounded, I was always surrounded by people who looked like me. So
Hmm.
when I made the transition to step into IT and then go to classes with, well, I started in high school and I started doing dual enrollment, and I was going to college classes of dealing with IT with people way older than me that didn't look
Hmm.
like me. So it was pretty interesting because they all had a different perspective. They all had a different perspective on their journey and outlook on life. So it
Yes.
kind of showed me that it showed me how to adapt to different environments.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
I was able to adapt to multiple different things, to be able to communicate to multiple different people. So when you said like people is your niche, that's it's slowly becoming one thing that I want to be a part of mine. It's like being able to interact with multiple different people because within IT, it's I would say a lot of the stuff is really with troubleshooting different issues.
Hmm.
And when it comes to troubleshooting different issues, you have to put yourself in a person's perspective. So it's really allowed me to kind of transfer those skills and to be able to actually help and understand what people are going through. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to talk about your first role in tech. So you said it was PowerTel or it was what was
Well, my very first role in tech was out of college. And I can tell a funny story on that. So my very first role, when I graduated from North Carolina A&T, I relocated to Northern Virginia. My brother was already there, and my brother helped me find my first job. So he was working with the government as well, and there was a small logistics company that he knew someone from his church went to that worked at that logistics company, and they were looking for a network administrator. So I told my brother, I said, "Hey, okay, let's, I'm gonna do it. It's a small company. It was an 8A firm. They probably had about maybe 40, 50 people in this office, and it was black owned. So, I was excited about that. And there was another network administrator. I never will forget, his name was Gary. I can't remember his last name, but his name was Gary. And Gary was there, And I remember going and having an interview. And you interview in the office in a conference room. You don't get. I didn't get to see where Gary's office was or anything like this. So everything looked nice. It was set up very nice. And so I accepted the position. I relocated there, moved in with my brother and his wife. And my first day at work, I showed up and I'm dressed because everybody else was dressed when I had the interview. And here comes Gary around the corner, looked like he just rolled out of bed. You know, he had on all these wrinkled clothes. And I'm like, this is not what I had expected. And so Gary took me into his office. And when I tell you, when I walked into that office, it looked like a IT junkyard. There it was. He had computers open and all monitors, and he was patching things up, and he had the network running with cables across the building. And I stood there like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Hey, you! Stop maxing out on your credit cards. I know you've been maxing it out, trying to keep up with your friends and going out to eat every day, or trying to keep up with these insane gas prices. Looks like you need to elevate your credit score with Capital Elevation Solutions. You need someone who can guide you in the right direction and help you repair your credit. Eventually, you want to be able to qualify for the better things in life. So click the link in the show notes and prepare to be financially elevated with Capital Elevation Solutions.
And this guy was like, yeah, this is the network, this is the switch over here, and this is where I run the console. And it looked like a complete mess. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? So I had to jump in there, and I didn't know anything about networking at the time. I was fresh out of college. They don't teach you networking in college. So there was a Novell network, like I mentioned, and this guy says, well, I'm about to go to lunch. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna read a few books, and I'm gonna figure out what's going on. I don't know if he set me up or what, but as soon as he walked out the door, when I tell you the whole network crashed, the network just shut down. And
Whoa.
people were running to the office looking, where's Gary? Where's Gary? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. With a computer, the system is down. We can't access network. We can't. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. I remember picking up the phone, calling my brother at work, and I'm whispering, and I'm like, Chris, I'm at work. And the network just went down. He was like, what do you mean the network just went down? And where's the guy you working for? I said, he went to lunch. And we didn't have iPhones, or, I couldn't FaceTime my brother. I don't even think I could take a picture at the time with the phone that I had. But I'm telling you, then the president came by, and he was looking at me like, who is this little young girl out of high school, out of college, that doesn't know what she's doing? My company shut down and we can't work. And it was a lot of government, like retired lieutenants
Oh,
and colonels. So I was so intimidated. If I could have felt defeated, but what kicked in for me are those personal skills. So again, I could talk my way out of anything. And so I just had to turn on the conversation. How you doing, sir? I just got here. Gary went to lunch, but I'm going to do my best to get it back up. I need to troubleshoot some things. I just talked. And so although I can't even remember what happened that first day, but that was my first job. And needless to say, um, the network was quite difficult, but I learned from that because I had to get in there and really learn how to administer this network. I had to go in there and learn how to troubleshoot, put memory boards in computers. I was opening up computers. I was doing more than I thought I would do. And when Gary realized that I had a heart for this, I had a passion. I wanted to learn. I wasn't just sitting in there trying to get a paycheck as a college student. I was trying to learn, and as he saw that I was retaining, we started building a relationship. We started working, and that was my very first job. And I went. He said, "Hey, you probably should take some classes." So I did. I went and I got a certification in Novell administration, and I learned it because I didn't have a choice, because I felt like I was thrown in the fire. So sometimes we have to take those opportunities that come against you, that make you want to just run. And when you think you're failing, you have to look at that as a positive opportunity to say, how am I going to turn this around? How am I going to take this negative experience and then turn it around for good and make it positive? And every opportunity I had, of course you get defeated, you come home and you're like, I'm not going back tomorrow. But I would, get up and go back tomorrow and learn something new. And so it was great. And I stayed there. I can't remember how long I stayed there, but my next position when I left there was to go work at the government. I went to work as a contractor for the Pentagon. I was working for Signal Corporation as a network administrator, and I ran the network for the Pentagon. Well, not the Pentagon. I'm sorry, Patent and Trademark Office. And they were starting up a program, work from home, and they were finally trying to get their patent attorneys the ability to work from home. And that's what my team, what we did. We went out to the attorneys' homes and we put computers in the homes. The techs did, and I was back at the Patent and Trademark Office, setting everybody up on the network, making sure everybody had their emails, and making sure they had the network connection. I would test the connection and the circuits back and forth. So that's what got me there.
Said
Yeah.
Gary leaving and taking the work with him.
I know, right? That Gary, I will never forget that man. I can see when I said his name, I saw his face and I saw him coming around that corner, and I'm like, oh my God, that could have made me or that could have broke me. I didn't know, but it made me at that point. It didn't break me. Yeah,
Like
challenges. You
that.
have to be ready.
Like those learning experiences, even I have struggled with like something really happening, just getting in that mindset of like wanting to back down, but really taking on the challenge has helped. Like I say now, taking on the challenge has honestly really helped me because I landed my next role and I'll be working for Meta for Facebook, at the
Oh,
end of this month.
awesome.
Yes. So
Yeah, wonderful.
I've been taking on all the challenges I could get my hands on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's our market now. Hey, it's our time to go out there and make a mark. While I was at T-Mobile and while I've been at T-Mobile, T-Mobile has been an excellent company with training us on diversity and culture. We have a great diversity, equity, and inclusion DE&I department, and I really owe a lot to T-Mobile with learning culture because that helped me working with people because there's so many nationalities at T-Mobile and there's so many different culture differences that you have to understand when you work with people. And so they did a great job with diversity training, helping you to understand that some cultures, although they're talking loud and they're yelling, that they're just passionate and they're cool, and that and then there are some cultures where the respect for women is not very is not high. They don't respect the women and value women. So you have to learn how to navigate in your career, especially in the IT career. You have to learn how to navigate. You have to learn the different cultures and understand the cultures and understand how to work with the cultures. And so I can say whenever you get an opportunity to get involved and get into any kind of diversity and inclusion, take that because that is really important for your career as well.
Thank you. I'll definitely look into that. Like even with this and being part of another program called Pillars, it's really helped me like broaden my perspective and learn more. And honestly, like they always say, continue learning in life. Like it's a never ending, it's never ending when it comes to learning. So
Exactly. Never. Never.
this is honestly one of the best things that I could come into. Like, I'm hoping that I can even go back to my old high school and be able to help the students there because life out here was
Oh
adulting
yeah.
is hard.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to go back and give back your support. I work with women in technology. I'm actually one of the co-chairs in Atlanta for our women in technology chapter in the Atlanta office. I also work with the Women's Alliance Network. And so we're always going out. We work with different organizations, but we're always advocating for African American women. We work with Girls Who Code. We have done things with the Atlanta Women in Technology Association. So I'm always trying to give back and I'm always trying to help, especially when I see girls who look like me. Hey, I want to give you all the knowledge that I can give you, all of the support that I can give you, the encouragement, because this is important. We have to help each other. We definitely have to, and then we have to advocate for other women and ensure that our whatever successes I have, I'm not successful if I'm not helping somebody else be successful.
Yes, it's true. Okay, so the Women in Technology chapter, how can you join that? Like, how can you join and be a part of a community? Because that's been my thing. Consistency and community and communication has been my like wraparound for this whole year, kind of like my theme for the year.
Oh
How can you
yeah. Oh
join?
yeah. So they have a website. Wow, I wish I would have had all the the information. But if you do a search for Women in Technology in Atlanta, you can pull up their website, and there's definitely opportunities to join there. I joined as a corporate sponsor through T-Mobile, but you definitely can join. Locally, they have activities where we do with girls. There are activities where we're on campus. Do we do things for the girls in high school? Then we go to the WIC campus, so those different campuses within Atlanta. And of course, when we got involved, we made sure that they were on campuses of HBCUs because that was lacking. But we made sure that we added that. And then they also have the corporate women in technology. So they recognize, so they try to touch every area of women in technology. So, yep, that's how you can find the information.
Well, that's great. I'm gonna look to it today because I've been in the process of like joining groups to be around people that are like me. And the last time I joined a group full of women in tech, it was just the environment was very toxic. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, yeah, I was just like, oh, we're gonna try this again another time.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're trying to bring a chapter to Atlanta. There is another uh, uh, group, Black Women in STEM 2.0, and they're out in Seattle. But we are working and trying to hopefully at least bring a conference here to Atlanta and maybe start up a conference in Atlanta. So if we do that, Black Women in STEM 2.0, I will definitely let you know.
Thank you. I will be there. I'm doing whatever I can to be there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like sometimes I've been hearing that like opportunities come from within the room, and I just love getting to know people.
Oh yeah.
So want to get to know everybody.
Yeah, networking is the key. Networking is the key because it's not what you know, sometimes it's who you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
So, oh yeah, the one thing that I did forget to ask you is where can people find you? Do you want them to have your LinkedIn? Like, how do you want them to be able to get in touch?
Best place, LinkedIn. Of course, I'm out there. Karon Robinson, or you do a search at under T-Mobile. That's the best place to connect professionally with me is LinkedIn. Not on
Mm.
Instagram, anything like that. Facebook, of course, but hey, who's not on Facebook?
Like since you've had many years in the field and gained so much wisdom, what are some things that you would like to see changing in the field? As you know, new people come in, a whole generation steps into the workforce. What would you like to see?
Well, we've definitely seen a change in the workforce over these last 2 years during this global pandemic. Working from home is now the norm almost. It's actually hard for us to even find resources when we mention the word coming into the office. It's like I don't want to come into the office. And I went into the office 2 days this week and I'm like, did I do this every single day? So I like to see this shift in technology where where we can use technology to our advantage, where we don't have to be conformed to an office where we don't have to sit here. So I just like to continue to see us evolve with technology, use our telecommunication applications. We have our mobile devices. I can see us working in cars and having, being at the park and having some type of way to dock my computer and charge my phone and sit at the park and work. So I am definitely enjoying the remote working and that change that I'm seeing us, pivot from having to be in all of these in a building shut off all day to being able to pivot. Some companies now are even moving to 4-day work weeks and 3-day work weeks. I mean, I've always said, who said we were supposed to work 5 days a week anyway? So being
Right.
able to just pivot there, work where I want to work, and be successful at doing it, that is definitely a shift that I'd love to see continue to evolve. I know that as things are lifting the CDC, saying we can go back in. Companies are wanting you to return because they have invested a lot in the real estate. But I'm enjoying my home office. I love, going downstairs to my home gym, coming up, taking a, shower, getting dressed, and come sit in my office. And I can do all of that, without getting in the car and sitting in traffic for an hour and a half. It's wonderful. I can be productive.
Yes, I love the work from home. What I was just
Yeah.
like before I got into corporate world, I was in like fast food retail. And when they first sent us home, I was just like, oh, this is nice. This
Oh
is
yeah. It took a minute to adjust to wanting to be on the camera all day, but now I'm fine. I turn it on. My team knows, hey, that she has a hat on. It must not be a good hair day. You got that right. So it's great.
it is like I do hope it continues. Oh, wait, let me say this. The first time working from home, I was like a call center job. So basically it was like calls like back to back to back. It was like once I shut the computer down, I put it aside, I went to sleep. Tell me why I was dreaming about more.
Oh goodness.
I was just like,
Yeah.
I am still working in my dreams. That's
Oh
when I
yeah.
realized, yeah, that's when I realized I need to just have a separate like location for everything. But
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
I would like to ask, how is your work-life balance while working from home? Like, I love to hear that people have improved their work-life balance from not having to, take those long drives to the office and not have to sit in one place. You don't have to be there all day.
Mhm.
So, how is your work balance while, working?
It's great because, like you said, I can be remote. So just last week I was in Florida. My husband was working, and I was able to travel with him. I could work in the hotel during the day, and then at nighttime, in the evening, we still had the evening time to go out and explore, eat dinner. So it took a moment, though. I will say that there was an adjustment period. I think everybody had to get used to working from home. So the first 6 months, maybe, there was no work life balance. It was as soon as I sat down at my computer at 9 o'clock in the morning, I could be sitting at this computer all day long, back to back to back meetings. I guess people just felt like, oh, let's meet, let's meet, let's meet. So it was a little chaotic in the beginning. I will say it was like I was totally exhausted, really like cutting off the computer at 8, going straight to bed because I was tired, not even get lunch or dinner because you didn't even have time to break. But now I think that people have gotten into a rhythm. They're able to balance their day. It's much, much better. So, even vacation time for me, like I said, I took 2 days off vacation, but I was gone for a whole week. But I felt like I was on vacation because although I was at the hotel and I was working, I still, at the end of the day, I was able to go out and, still explore. And so that has been for me the best part. And that's really helped me to balance it. Not only that, my appointments, things that I need, doctor's appointments and things like that. I'm not my job was 40 about 40 miles away. So
Mhm.
perimeter, I live in Fayetteville. So, my commute was an hour plus. And so now I can make my doctor's appointments at 8 in the morning, or, early time, go to doctor's appointments, run your errands, come back home and be online and work for the rest of the day and feel like, okay, I haven't missed anything because you have had the opportunity to, run your errands, do the things that you need to do. And then fortunately for me, my kids are grown, and they're, on their own. And so I don't have to worry about kids and dinner. I have a grandbaby that, I love to spend time with, but I can work the later hours. But it still is wonderful knowing that when I'm done, my couch is only a few steps away and not an hour away. So I think for me, I'll take the longer work days because I don't have to now concentrate on traffic for another hour after an exhausting day. I can just relax and it's over. So it's been great for me.
Love that for you. I want to make sure that I touch on this with like everybody because work life balance has been a topic of discussion because working from home has allowed people to finally enjoy or at least be free from the day to day, the normal, the old school lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then it's saved on the cleaner's bill. So, you dress from the top up. And then T-Mobile's so casual. So we were even casual when we went to work. They promote their T-Mobile gear. So they promote, T-Mobile t-shirts and T-Mobile, jackets and hats. And so it's like the norm to wear a t-shirt. So it's so funny when the wintertime came. I said, you know what? I'm gonna put some clothes on because I haven't had my clothes on in like months, because all I do is put on a different T-Mobile t-shirt every day. And I remember putting on a normal little shirt. It was nothing fancy. But I had on this blouse and I came and I got on the computer and we cut our cameras on and my team was like, wow, where you been? You're dressed up. And I'm like, dressed up. I have on a blouse that I probably would have worn to work, but they're used to seeing a T-Mobile t-shirt every day. So, hey, I can definitely say, putting on a t-shirt and those pajama pants or some stretch pants has been wonderful. I will put on some makeup every now and again so I won't scare them, but that's a great part.
Oh my god. The Okay, so I love that like some days you just have to get dressed because you just want to get dressed.
Yes, exactly. You want to put some clothes on. Yeah.
Like I've got to this point where I will buy clothes and I'm like, I'm gonna wear this to work. I look cute, and then I'm just like, I'm remote.
Right. What am I gonna do all that? Why am I putting on all these clothes? Exactly. And I don't want to sit at this desk all day with jeans on, so I'm gonna have on some sweatpants or something comfortable. Yep, absolutely.
You look good, you feel good, you comfortable, you're doing everything good. I mean,
Hey, that's it.
right?
Life is good.
Is it so? I know we're gonna touch on your. Okay, you're basically a leader. I know you know that. You're a leader in all things.
Yep.
So, how can you help others to like where they are? Well, where you are, my bad. How can you help get others get to where you are? Like that. From your starting point to here, the lessons you've learned, what are some tips that you can, hand out to us at the very bottom where we're trying to get up to that position that you got there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, like I've said earlier, again, don't be afraid to take opportunities just because it's not anything that you know or you don't know everything. As women, we kind of feel like we need to check off every box before we feel like we're qualified for the position. So, definitely, take the risk. Capitalize on what you can do well and what you do best and use that as you go to your positions. Also, don't be afraid of lateral moves. Several of my positions were lateral moves. When I went from a manager of the business systems analyst to going to a software development manager, it was a lateral move in my career. But for me, it was a promotion because I took the opportunity to go in, and really it was a little bit of a stretch assignment. So I also tell you that as well. Sometimes people say, "Hey, would you mind taking a stretch assignment?" And sometimes you shy away from that because most stretch assignments mean you're doing your job and you're doing somebody else's job at the same time. But take those opportunities, take those lateral moves, because those lateral moves, especially if it's in an area that is, totally new to you, that does so much more for your career. That the knowledge that you get from that, the relationships that you build, that's what sets you up. Because for me, taking that lateral move, going into software development, I worked more and more with development teams. And so now I was so well rounded in the SDLC process. When I worked with the VP, she was like, "Hey, you've worked here, you've done this, you've done that. Come on over here and work on this, be a strategic partner with me." And so that's where I got my promotion. So it took some lateral moves for me, but then eventually my promotion came because of the knowledge that I was able to gain. So definitely you want to, take that opportunity, gain as much knowledge as you can. Now, one thing that I would do differently in my career, and I would tell people, I love T-Mobile, love, love, love it. y- I think I just stayed too long. And now I'm about to retire soon, so I'm not thinking about leaving. But take the opportunity to kind of move around if you can, in your career. Go to different companies, get the different experience, because different companies have different cultures, different processes, different people. And so that would be one thing for me, that if I had to do it over again, I think I maybe would have, maybe consulted a little bit more in the government sector. I probably would have moved around to a couple different companies, experienced some different people. But when I got here to Atlanta, I guess after working at PowerTel, and then it became VoiceStream, and then VoiceStream became T-Mobile, it did feel like I was going from company to company. But in essence, I was in the same place. So, just getting that experience, that different experience, is invaluable to your career and networking. You are doing the right thing by joining those organizations, getting yourself out there, networking with people, going to seminars, going to conferences. You want to do all of that because it's very, it's really a small world, especially in technology. You'll be so surprised with the people that you cross paths with, that you were networking with, IT breakfast, or you went to a conference or a seminar, and then you go to a company, or you work with vendors, and then they're bringing on these resources. And you're like, "Hey, I think we worked together before." And then by the time you have connected it, you remember that, "Oh yeah, you were at this conference. Oh, I remember you from this place." So yeah, definitely make sure you get yourself out there and network, and get into organizations, in your field, with women that are doing things like yourself.
That is some amazing advice. I need to take that myself.
Yep.
Gonna have me listening to this episode. It's all over. So what did Karan say I need to do?
Yep, absolutely. And I'm going to mention one other thing that just came to my mind as well. Make sure you have a sponsor, someone who can advocate for you, someone who doesn't mind going in. And a lot of people get a mentor and a sponsor, confused, because a mentor is someone who can mentor you and help you grow in your career. But your sponsor is someone who can walk in that door and say, "Yes, this person needs to be in this job." They will speak up and they will vouch for you, and have influence, and you will say you're that right person. So definitely, as you're growing your career, get those sponsors, those people that will speak for you and advocate for you as well.
Oh, that is the first time I've heard a sponsor for this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Oh, that is new. That is new to me.
Yeah, it's absolutely, I'm learning that, and I've learned that, and I have, people that, it's time to get jobs. Like I said, it's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know in a lot of these positions. And so you have your sponsor that can speak for you, that speaks volumes.
Okay, let's see. So, what would you recommend in like a way of getting one? Is it more so you just because I have a mentor and he has, spoken for me and things, but I don't necessarily consider, I've never considered him as sort of like a sponsor. So, a lot of people are finding mentors. How can you find that sponsor?
Well, I've developed a relationship with the sponsor with my sponsor from a mentorship, but it went beyond a mentorship. So when you start developing those working relationships, you start um, even personal relationships with them. So it went beyond just being a mentor to, working together, collaborating together. They saw my skills, they saw my knowledge, they saw what I was able to deliver, and they were okay vouching for me. They were okay saying, yep, she can do the job. And so, you somewhat have to prove yourself, but build yourself up with that person, and they can definitely help you grow there.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you on
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
absolutely.
start making sure I look for that.
Yeah.
So, oh, okay. I know I don't want to like cut into your time. I know you got to hurry stop. So the last little thing is, what is a motivating, insightful quote that you would like for our audience to know that has helped you actually throughout your journey?
Oh, that's a good one because I keep saying it over and over again on this call. It's not about what you know. Don't let what you know stop you. That has always been a thing that I said to myself. And it's funny because I remember a quote from uh Albert Einstein, Albert Einstein, who said, what did he say? The person who never makes a mistake is a person who never tried anything. And that
Mm.
kind of stuck out with me. And I was like, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. You got to go out there and try something. So that's kind of a quote, and that kind of ties back to what I say about things. Don't be held back by what you don't know. You go in there with what you do know and do what you can do and do that the best. So yeah, that's what's carried me through.
Thank
Yeah,
you. That is an amazing quote. I'm gonna make sure that I love that one, honestly. Like, you have to try different stuff to learn different things. And we talked about earlier, just make sure the stuff that you are trying and it doesn't work, you take it as a learning opportunity pretty much. So
absolutely. Yep.
that feeds into that growth mindset. And a lot of people that are looking to join the industry, you I feel like it's necessary for a growth mindset, because there's so many different things that you come in contact with and so many different people you come in contact with, that you're going to be constantly learning, failing, succeeding, learning, failing, succeeding in different aspects. So it's definitely necessary to have the right mindset when you come in.
Absolutely. Yep. You're right about that. And you got to keep that positive mindset too. Don't let the day to day, we just have to remember that we're always victorious. That every day we're made for success. We, start each day out as champions and we end as champions. So that's how you have to go.
Well, champions, this will be near the end of the podcast. You can find Karan on LinkedIn and Karon Robinson, but it will be linked in the show notes. And listen to this episode over again. You think you heard something, but you might have missed. So listen to the episode over again.
Yeah. This was wonderful. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. I'm hoping to have a panel discussion with women soon. I want you to be a part of it. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna let you, get into your groove, get prepared for your next call. But you guys for listening into the podcast. Podcasts are up every Thursday. Be Insightful with Technology. And I'm your host, Shakaria Johnson, that helps you gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to, be insightful with technology. And I hope you enjoy your day and tune in next week.